Okay, now we are going to see the structure of mycelium in fungi. So I want to discuss a little about the septate mycelium, that is the mycelium which has septa, and the types of septa in them. So please remember the word Dolipore and Woronin bodies. Okay. Now what happens? The mycelium of the fungus, as all of you know, is of two types, septate and aseptate. So aseptate mycelium is seen in Phycomycetes, which is primitive. But right from Ascomycetes, Basidiomycetes and Deuteromycetes, we see septate mycelium. So if this is the hyphus, I am drawing one hyphus, and let us take only this much part and I enlarge it. So if I don't see any division between the cells of hypha, then I do call it as aseptate. But from Ascomycetes, I see a septum develops dividing the hyphus into compartment. This is one compartment. This is another compartment. Why did the aseptate hyphus converted to septate hyphus? Because there was a septum. So the membrane only will extend inside, forming the division, but a septum is not complete. At the center it shows an opening called as septal pore, because the septa has an opening at the center, and through septal pore the communication between C1 and C2 compartments occur. Okay. Now the septate mycelium has two types based upon structure of septum. Structure of septum. So I have simple septum and we have something called as Dolipore septum. So now what I drew here is simple septum. So I have an extension of the membrane inside and I have a pore, and this is the enlarged version. But sometimes within the hyphus, the same septum which was simple, I am drawing the vertical section of the hyphus, will swell to form a donut shaped okay, or I can write this as donut shape. Okay, because in simple it was just a membrane extension, but here it's like we have a window, or we have a window with a wooden frame. It swells and covers to create a donut shaped septal pore. Okay, we see this is called as Dolipore septum, We see this in Basidiomycetes, which are supposed to be advanced fungi. I repeat, septate mycelium in fungus has two types based upon how septa is. If it is simple, the membrane extends inside to form the septum with a central pore. If it is a Dolipore septum seen in Basidiomycetes, the membrane which extended inside will swell, forming a swollen opening, swollen septum pore, which is called as Dolipore septum. Okay. Now I have another this one you can see here. I have this is the wall of the hyphus. And you can see the septum extending inside. And now I can see a simple pore and the protoplasmic membrane. That means of this compartment membrane and this compartment membrane, you can see how it reverted on the septa, communicating each other. This is simple septum and septal pore. But in case of Dolipore septum, you can see if this is the simple septum, like how I have seen in the first picture, you can see how the membrane took forward. That means it took swelling forward and it's swollen to cover a donut shaped septal pore called as Dolipore septum. So sometimes we see if this is the mycelium and I had a Dolipore septum here and something happened to the fungus and this much mycelium is broken. So what happens when this is broken? Whatever protoplasm is this side will start leaking from this point. Correct? Because there is an opening. Like, Like from here, if it starts leaking down outside. So what happens in such situation? There is a protein called as Woronin body. So how if a tap is leaking, how we keep a plug into the tap? Similarly, when this much mycelium is broken down, to prevent the leakage of protoplasm from the rest through the Dolipore septum, a protein will block the septum. We call that as Woronin body. Woronin body. After the name of the person. Am I clear? Yes.